Technically, the first time I was in prison, I was in my mom's stomach when she visited my dad. Technically, the first time I drank or used was when I was being developed in my mother's stomach. My dad was a meth cook and an addict. My mom, a prostitute, selling herself, an addict, a junkie. I grew up in a broken home. I dropped out of school in the fifth grade. When other people were learning about math, I was learning about drugs and crime. My entire family is full of addicts, convicts. I remember people coming home from prison left and right. That was kind of a thing that you earned, was respect when you got out of prison, is what I thought at such a young age. I started drinking when I was 8 years old. I started using drugs soon after that. I experimented with all drugs, with LSD, with mushrooms, with acid, with pills. I would steal them from my mom. I would get them on the corner. I would get them however I could. But the one thing I couldn't do was get a job. I was too young. I had dropped out of school. My brain was developing, but I wasn't learning the proper things like life skills. I was learning the streets. I was learning how to protect myself when I'm getting jumped for wearing the wrong colors or when people are trying to take my wallet. I was learning how to get food, to go into stores and push shopping carts full of food out of the store. I was learning how to steal cars. I was learning how to scare people that were beating my mom up by having a firearm. I knew that people would respect me and wouldn't jump me and wouldn't hurt my mom, and that I could protect us if I had a gun. I remember when I was a child tiptoeing around the house to make sure everybody was breathing because I was so used to seeing people die or seeing overdoses that I was traumatized that somebody else was going to die. And so I would walk around the house and I would check their breath. I remember violence in the streets at my house. I remember going to jail for the first time, to juvenile hall, when I was a kid. My first term of incarceration, I was about 11 or 12 years old when I went to juvenile hall. And then it was in and out of juvenile hall, juvenile detention center, then Spring Mountain Youth Center, Caliente Youth Center. Then as I got older, I would get out and I would do good for a brief period of time, but the environment was like a crab in a bucket that pulled me back into the bucket. I couldn't get out of it. I didn't know a way to get out of it, but I knew that I wanted a better life, that I knew I had a good heart, and I wanted to be able to break free from what was trapping me, my addiction and my environment, my reality. It was full of sadness, tragedy, and I would go back to the only way of life that I ever knew. It would progress into my adult life, and I would go to jail. I would go to city jail, county jail. I would go to hospitals. I would have to get my stomach pumped. I would overdose, and overdosing was normal to me because I thought that you had to get to that blackout period to really black out those feelings. To really feel good was to feel nothing. And so I trapped myself in this paradigm where I would get out and I would go back and I would get out and I would go back, and it would be drugs and it would be alcohol and it would be overdoses. It would be bad choices. And I would do 4 years in prison, 2 years in prison, 4 years in prison, and then 8.5 years in prison. I have spent 22 years of my life incarcerated. I've spent a life battling addiction. I came from a place in life that people just counted me out. You wouldn't think that I would be where I am today. I relapsed when I got out of prison after doing the 8.5 years for 2 days. Then I did 90 meetings in 90 days, and I got support, and I got therapy, and I started to unravel this mess that I am. This mess that has been created by a lifetime of trauma, of addiction, of prison, of PTSD. I started to unravel it with therapy and with programs. But here I am 14 months later. In this period of time, I have accomplished so much. We just got a house. I have a car that's registered to me. I pay my bills. I've been to France. I can go on and on counting these things. I've been speaking at the legislature trying to make changes for homeless people, for addictions, for addicts, to bring awareness to childhood trauma, to mentor youth. I've been mentoring addicts, alcoholics. I'm about to start a nonprofit called pushandpaysproject.org. Push and Pays project. I am really out here living the life that I always wanted to live, but never knew how. I am proof that it could be done. You could do anything you set your mind to.